Hi everybody. Today I wanted to chat to you very quickly about how do we know when it's okay to let our children do something versus when maybe we need to intervene, and how do we know that? How do we do it when we know they've got needs, developmental needs and cognitive needs and physical needs, and it might make us feel a bit guilty knowing that they've got all those needs, and we can see that, oh, that's a need to have, and how do we support them through that? But it might not be the best place for them. So it's been really fabulous that everyone's really aware right now of their children's needs. But sometimes it makes people feel guilty. Parents, adults feel guilty when they have to stop a child from doing an activity if we believe that, oh, that's it, we've stopped them developing and had this need and went away. So there is a very easy way to know, right, what are we going to do here? If when the child does something and we look at them doing something, are they hurting themselves, hurting others, or hurting the environment? If they're not to any of those three, just let them be, they're fine. If you can say yes to any of those, then as the adult, whether you're the parent, the carer, the teacher, the child manager, you're going to then have to think, how are we going to meet that needs, but a different way or at a different time? So for example, let's say you've got a baby in the lovely, hilarious stage of dropping their spoon, where they finished their lunch, they're dropping their spoon. That is a need. It is a need they have. Okay, consequences, what happens? I drop it, it falls to the ground. It is a need. It doesn't mean it's a need that has to have, we have to let them keep dropping their spoon. So let's have a look. Let's say I live in a house. My children are dropping their spoon again and again. They're having so much fun, they're laughing. They're not hurting themselves. They're not hurting the environment. They're not hurting anyone else. It's fine. Go for it, baby. Now, let's say they keep dropping the spoon, but it's a spoonful of food. So it's not an empty spoon. It's a spoon. Every time I give them the spoon, they drop the spoon with the hummus, the peas, the whatever. Right, this goes, and they're not hurting themselves. Then kind of hurting me because I'm going to have to clean all of that. And they're hurting the environment with the waste of food. And that goes against our family values. So then I'd have to stop it and give them an empty spoon to play with. Now let's say I live in a flat. There's someone below us. Well, they drop it once, fine, I give it back to you. They drop it twice, I can see where it's going. Then I have to stop it because there's someone behind them. So they're not hurting themselves by dropping the spoon, but they are hurting someone else. They're hurting the person who lives below. We don't know anything about this person. They might be desperate for rest and they can't rest because there's a spoon being dropped constantly. And hurting the environment, again, it makes noise for a lot of people. So then you know, right, my child has a need. They've got this need, but it's hurting other people. Okay? Then you have a few choices. You can either give them something light to drop. I mean, it's probably not going to have the same effect, but you could. Or you could say, right, we're going to stop that now. We're not dropping anything. You take the spoons away. And then you take them out to the park and you start dropping. It's okay if the need is not met right now. If it's a bigger need like this, if it's need for food and water, yes, now. But everything else can wait a little bit. And it's you, the adult, who's got to think, be a bit more creative around that. And that's hard work. That's really hard work, and it takes a lot of energy. But that's really how we help our children understand that they're part of a bigger, they're part of a society, they're part of a group, they're part of a family, and they have needs and we have needs and everyone has needs, and we need to respect. So are they hurting themselves, others, or the environment? And the environment, I don't just mean the forest, I mean the home, the school, the bus. And the underlying belief is that your freedom, your child's freedom, stops where someone else's starts. And It's really hard sometimes if you have two children or more who have different needs at the same time. How do you make it all work? And it's incredibly difficult. But if you keep those three things in mind, as long as they're not hurting themselves or those of the environment, they're fine. It means you can relax when it comes to things like, oh, they're painting their hands. I give them paint, and instead of painting the paper, they're painting their hands. Well, are they hurting others? No. Are they hurting the environment? No, as long as it stays on the hand. Are they hurting themselves? It depends. Is the paint toxic or not? And then you make your decisions. But this is the driving force, and this is how you know that you are meeting their needs, but also making sure everyone else's needs are met as well. And we have this where we help raise respectful children who will look after themselves and others and the environment.